Hey, good morning. Let's see.
Morning.
Morning, Jim. You have Tron and Bill.
Oh, where the heck's my volume?
I can hear you just fine, Jim.
But I can't hear you people.
Jim, before we get started, the little arrow by the microphone, there's a settings, and on those settings, you can change the volume, both of your audio and your mic.
Okay, where's the? I got start video, mute, participants, chat.
Right next to mute, there's like a little arrow, and you click on that,
Okay.
and it gives you a bunch of things, and then it says audio settings. And then I think
Audio
you're probably,
settings. Okay.
yeah, you should be good from there.
Okay. Let's try that.
You are coming very loud though, so you might want to turn down your mic volume.
Okay. Come on, move down. It doesn't want to move. Huh. That's strange. Does not want to move. Is it still coming in too loud?
We can make do.
Okay.
It's not too loud with me, Jim, and
Oh,
I can turn
okay.
down my speaker. And I'm not going to turn on my video feed. This is Bob Audio. The internet is struggling out here in the country. So,
Well, we just got back from Wisconsin last night at 5 o'clock, so I'm not prepared for any of this meeting.
oh, that's fine. Oh, up there for the holidays.
Yes, visiting our son and grandchildren for Christmas
Wonderful, wonderful.
right on Lake Superior.
Oh boy.
It was 11 below when we left on Sunday.
Wow. Yeah, that's a real winter.
And we had snow. No snow here.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, but it's been rough sledding down here, as they say. Well, I guess good morning, everyone. You can call the meeting to order if you'd like. And Jim, you're welcome to abstain from this approval of the minutes, but Donna, I just only had just a couple word correction, and it's on the very first page, the very bottom line, where it says then or first then various consulting. It should be just first in various consulting firms.
Okay, got it.
That was pretty much it. Okay, thank you, Donna. Anybody else
Bob or Donna?
with
Yeah,
comments or
it's Bill.
revision?
Yeah, Bill Riggert
Yes. Yes.
here. Up in the beginning of the minutes where it says others, and you have Warren and Katie with Bynum Faneuil after it. And actually, I believe Warren's with us, so he can correct me if I'm wrong, but Warren would be either Best Spears or Miller Real Estate, and Katie's with Smith Design Group.
Okay, thank you. I sometimes I just am guessing on those.
No, that's fine. No
Sorry, and
worries.
I'm technically with BB Profile is the entity I'm representing.
BB profile, that's 2 letters, BB. Maybe you could put it in
Yes.
the chat. And then Katie Stein is with who?
Smith
Smith
Design.
Smith
Yeah.
Design Group.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Warren. I would have never guessed the third one.
This is really small and probably not worth, but I work for Indiana Geological and Water Survey. It's like the second sentence on the second paragraph under approval of minutes. There's an ampersand or an and in between geological and water.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
For everyone, I was on vacation when sending this out. I definitely did not proofread. But thank you all for your input, and thank you, Donna, for doing the minutes and making those corrections.
Well, very good. I guess we'll just go through an approval of the minutes. If
Sure. I'll recommend, with those changes, I'll recommend approval of our November 3rd meeting minutes.
Second.
okay, and I'll go ahead. Was that you?
I seconded.
Oh, okay,
Ginger.
great. Thank you, Ginger. Okay, we'll go through. Jim, I assume you will abstain, but what is your vote?
I'm going to abstain since I haven't read them.
No, no worries. No worries. Ginger,
Aye.
Bill, is Lisa on the call? I guess not. And audio says aye also. So the minutes are approved. Thank you. All right. We can move down to public input. Is there any public input for items not on the agenda? And I'm not hearing any, so I'll just proceed on to old business. And I know there's none on the agenda, but Kelsey, I was wondering, I'm actually going to bring up 2 items. First, what's the status of virtual versus in-person meetings for, our future meetings? Anything different?
As of right now, we're still doing fully virtual meetings. The governor extended the public health order for another month.
Okay.
We do have the procedure in place for hybrid meetings that we passed last year. It's difficult because this meeting is at the beginning of the month, so we usually have very short notice. I'm going to assume things will be virtual for a little bit, but we are set up for hybrid meetings if necessary. So.
Okay, great. And thank you. Then the second item was, I know there was questions about a drainage issue on Fairfax Road, and I haven't seen anything more on that. Is that been resolved, or is it going through planning, or is there some other, is that a future issue?
We're talking about Sanders.
I think that's correct.
I brought the concerned owners to the Stormwater Management Board, where we discussed the issue and some of the options or lack of options there. And that was the last that I have acted on that specific concern, but I have some ideas, but nothing that I can do immediately. It's going to require,
Okay.
it's a bigger project than just a simple work order that I can have my crew work on, since it's a combination of private property and all of that. So.
Okay. Well, great.
No.
Yeah. Well, thank you. All right. Anybody else with old business that would like to pipe in?
Hey, Bob,
Yes.
if nobody else has anything, I would like to take a moment quickly to introduce a new MS4 employee.
Oh, yeah.
So we have Adam Rickert here. He's, I have two accounts open right now. One has our video so that you can actually meet Adam with video. So Adam is our new MS4 assistant, trying to change the position title a little bit to do the position more justice. But he started with us just a couple weeks ago, right before I went on vacation, but I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, thank you. Pleased to be here. I lived in Monroe County for kind of the last 3 years, kind of on and off. I previously worked for the Marion County Health Department, helping the city of Indianapolis fulfill their permit requirements for their MS4 permit. So I look forward to using whatever experience I've gained to that position and apply it to Monroe County. I've lived here permanently for probably the last year and a half, and I'm just really excited to start this position and get going.
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Glad to have
Yes,
you here.
welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have
Welcome.
you, Adam.
I'm sorry.
I said, nice to have you, Adam.
Oh, thank you.
I'm excited. He didn't mention he has 25 years experience with the health department. Performing all sorts of inspections for outfalls, commercial properties, industries, spill cleanup and all sorts of other great stormwater related things. So Adam, I'm very appreciative and I'm really happy to have you on board.
Thank you.
Our board
Good to hear.
members are Bob Audio, we have Bill Riggert, Jim Faber, Ginger Davis, and Tron, who's our surveyor. And then, yeah, so make sure I have everyone here.
Well, and Lisa too, I guess is.
Please.
And then Donna as our secretary.
Yes. Donna works in the surveyor's office.
It's nice to meet all of you. I look forward to meeting you in person when that becomes available.
I am too. All right.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay. Well, if there's no more old business, I guess we could move down to the new business. And the first one is the approval of the. Have any questions or comments on that? Doesn't sound like. If
Sorry,
I'll
sorry, I'm scrolling. Those are.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Yeah, I'll second. They look fine to me.
Okay, and so we'll go through once again. Jim.
Yes, I approve.
Okay. Ginger.
Yeah, I approve.
Okay, Bill.
Yes, I approve as well.
And Bob says I also. Okay, the minutes are approved. And okay,
No.
Kelsey.
Not the minutes.
Oh, no, excuse me. You're right. The meeting times. You're right. Thank you for that correction.
And I will say that room 106D is reserved if you do need to attend in person or hybrid meeting or any of that. It's on the first floor of the Showers building. If you go in the front main entrance and take a right, it'll be down the hall on your left.
Yeah. I look forward to a time when we're post-pandemic and can meet. So, yes. Okay, well, Kelsey, if you want to move on to B, the Pinnacle Business Park and,
Yeah. So as you know, for the development of the former ABB property off of Curry Pike at Profile Parkway, there's a major subdivision. I'll pull up the map while I explain this. So For the major subdivision, they were required to provide some drainage improvements for the entire property, which included a large swale on the north side, as well as another swale improvement on the south side, south of Profile Parkway. That was part of their subdivision improvement agreement, and they had a deadline of end of December. They were able to complete those improvements by the deadline. We had a minor change that I'll run by you as soon as I can pull up my map here. Oh gosh, okay.
Kelsey, take a minute and get that pulled up. Yeah.
Okay. My password wasn't correct. I got it. All right. So yeah, so with any major subdivision, you have usually a Rule 5 permit just for the infrastructure improvements. And then if you have lot development, if any of those lots are greater than 1 acre, those will need their own separate Rule 5 permits. This is common practice, and we've had this occur, multiple times since this program was in place.
Kelsey, were you, there we go. I wasn't sure if
Sorry.
there might be a delay there. I thought, just making sure we can see your screen now. So perfect.
Okay, good. Make sure I'm in the right place here. Okay, so I was just babbling while I was able to pull this up. I apologize. So this is the site here. Carty Pike is to the west. The new Profile Parkway bisects the subdivision. And then this is the city boundary here. We have all commercial property. There are a couple large ponds that this entire site drains to. Study was done demonstrating that provides plenty of storage for the runoff from the site, assuming the entire site is impervious. But there were improvements to make this swale to the north here, all the way down, as well as some improvements on the south end here. There was one small portion of a swale on the south side. It didn't have an outlet, and there was a new construction entrance that went straight over it. They asked to remove that from the plans, essentially. It was a shallow swale, and again, it didn't have an outlet. The instructions were to feather out the swale at the end. It's very flat, and because the construction entrance was in that location, I was okay with that change being made. But there wasn't a drainage board meeting before that proposal was made and the end of their subdivision improvement agreement deadline. So I want to get your input on that, and then also talk about that with the bigger project I wanted to bring to you today, which is the development of lot 5, which is this lot right here. So.
Kelsey, in the handout, page 11, is that area A, swale A, what you were referring to?
Okay. Area A.
Next one.
Okay, thank you. No, so this is all completed. And actually Erica can give you an update on that in a minute if you need to. It was, oh, sorry, this area A. Yes, this swale right here, this swale A is the one in question that since the improvements to Profile Parkway were made and the fact that we have a new driveway entrance right in the middle of it, this is what they were proposing to change. Okay. Okay.
So if I'm looking at that correctly, it looks like it's probably about 300, 400 feet in total across a 3-foot drop possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any concern there. That's not significant enough to create any kind of major.
If anything, Thank you, Ginger. Yeah, if anything, I would like to maybe include any, drainage improvement with the development of this specific lot. But again, it is very flat. So I think once we talk about the development of lot 5, we can bring this back up. Okay. That is my general overview. Before I talk about lot 5, Erica, would you be able to just give us a quick update on the inspections you performed and how the installation of this swale improvements went and everything?
Sure. So I was last there on December 22nd for kind of a final walkthrough so that they could make any necessary repairs before the end of the month. But everything looked good. They had their matting in place and it was secured well. They had the reinforced turf matting and the areas where they expected heavier flows. And that was also installed very well. There were a couple of check dams that, as we were walking, we saw that they did require some repairs. So I anticipate that those were made. They've been really quick to respond and fix things as needed. So I expect that they were done. So I'm very pleased with the work that was done and the finishing out of everything, given that it was finished out in winter time. It looked really good.
Great. Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Erica
Erica,
about
thank you for that inspection. None from Bob.
None for me.
Great.
I'm fine.
Okay. Great, thank you, Erica. Okay, so those improvements are essentially complete. We will be looking to see that, again, some of the measures are still maintained until the swales are established. But now I want to talk about development of lot 5. So this was brought to us in December. And so what is being proposed, or what was proposed, was a gravel laydown yard for use by Duke Energy. And the gravel laydown yard, more than 1 acre. So standard Rule 5 compliance would require a new Rule 5 permit for any disturbance greater than 1 acre. You cannot amend a SWIP. You cannot amend a SWIP if the new disturbed area is greater than 1 acre. It does require a new permit. So in the process of trying to communicate that to the owner, we noticed that the work was actually completed prior to us getting a new permit. That's one issue. I think at this point, I just want to run this by you to see what you want improved, and we will work on getting this into compliance. So Anne, I see Anne is here. Anne, would you be able to please give the board an update from the planning department's side of this and any requirements you may have on this?
Sure, and good morning, everybody. So right now we have a pending commercial site plan for this site, for this laydown yard. We're calling it temporary, but there is no good planning process for actual temporary use. So when it comes to the zoning ordinance, the requirements that are going to be upheld are going to be exactly as if it was permanent, because there's just no way to accommodate something that could be temporary. So right now the site plan is pending, let's see, quite a bit. They're going to be required to have to install a surface parking lot. It's not allowed to be gravel. There's landscaping that's required, and construction of the entrance that's required. So the petitioner, they've acknowledged that Duke just went ahead and put down the poles. So I believe the petitioner is going to be seeking variances for maybe from the surface requirement. So right now it's just on hold and hoping that we can just mitigate any of the issues now since they've already started the use.
Okay, thank you, Anne.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen again. So,
I'm sorry, Kelsey, but
yeah,
could we go a little more into the request for the surface that Anne commented on? What kind of
Yeah.
waiver are they seeking exactly? Would you just kind of drill into that a bit more? I remember the conversation, but it's been a while.
Sure. So the Chapter 806 off-street parking would not allow a gravel surface for outdoor storage or any kind of vehicle parking. So I can pull up that code if you would like, but it would just require an approved variance from the BZA.
And do you know kind of what the intent of kind of having that requirement in the first place is really intended for, or like kind of the mitigation purposes of not having a gravel driveway for, you know, could you speak to that?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, so Chapter 806 is going to be specifically looking at commercial projects. So in most cases, you know, gravel might not be applicable. We've seen variances from them for it in the past. Some have been approved, some are not. You know, it really depends on kind of the site and the use. Sometimes it seems appropriate that, you know, gravel is more of a natural like filter. Other times there are dust concerns. Is that helpful, Tron? I can pull up the code if you would like.
No, that's pretty helpful. I guess my real concern is just the site itself. And when we start, you know, messing around with the ground there, I mean, it's definitely been released. So the development's going to occur, but the ground is still, you know, toxic at a certain depth. So like, I guess that's my concern. And what would necessarily be the best practice here, Kelsey, for this type of site? Because it's unique in nature.
Yeah, I think I will let Warren and Katie discuss. I don't believe this is in a contaminated area. Is that correct, Warren?
It actually, a portion of it is,
Okay.
part of lot 5 is, but where the gravel has been deposited is substantially in an affected area.
It is in
And-
a affected area, okay.
Yeah, and so just for your knowledge, that area was remediated and a minimum 1 foot cap was left. So, you know, that's what we're on top of that with another 6 to 12 inches of gravel. And also just to back up, my understanding was as long as we had a site plan kind of review and process, we were complying with all of the, you know, the setback requirements, everything except for the paved surface. And when I looked at the ordinance, I wasn't entirely certain because there was a waiver for areas outside of urban areas to allow gravel for outdoor or for parking lots. And I guess the other thing, you know, Duke, when we initially discussed this, their intent was to lay down those power poles and leave them there for 6 months. This is absolutely a temporary use. Those were for the Rogers Street connection between South Rogers and 11th Street substations. So I thought it was going to be, more of a lay down and leave it there. Since then, they have had a change in circumstances. There's another project at the airport, and they needed to use it a little more actively in the interim. But it's 100% a temporary use. It should be 12 months, and then permanent development of that site of the overall site is still in the planning process.
Thank you,
So
Warren.
that's the background on that.
Thank you, Warren. And did you want to address the question about the urban versus rural requirements for gravel?
I am not familiar with that. Jackie, if she's available, I know she's on. Might be answered.
Yeah, so there is a provision in the 806 that if you're in a non-urban area and you have less than about 10 parking spaces, you can keep the area gravel parking. That was an amendment that we made in probably 2018 to the ordinance. But just to verify or go back to the comment about what's the benefit of asphalt versus gravel, typically we're thinking from a dust perspective, long-term durability perspective. We're not really able to go back to sites after we've given them site plan approval and say, hey, you need to add more gravel. It's starting to wear away. Same as if we can't really ask them to repave parking areas, but we can if they amend their site or change something, but that's kind of the gist of 806.
Is there a recommendation from planning?
We will have that recommendation, Sean, when they apply for the variance. But at this point, it's just something we brought to the attention of the petitioner, and they're in motion to apply for variances.
Thank you.
Okay. So from my point of view on this, even for the temporary use, I still need a SWIP to cover maintenance of the measures in place. It will probably require, it will require a new SWIP, I'm assuming, when you go to develop the lot for its permanent use. So I just wanted to pull up the plat that Ann had shared. It does show the affected area, which I was way off in my mental image of where that was. So it is within that area. So I guess what I want to discuss with you all today is what you want to see for Lot 5 in its current state. And just get it into compliance regarding the construction stormwater permitting. So the current Rule 5 only covered the work on the swales, the construction entrance, did not cover the work on the lot. And as I said, the lot work, I count that as disturbed ground. You're going from a grass field to now a gravel parking lot. And the new area is over 1 acre. So I wanted to go through some pictures I just took so that you can see what's happening on the site and the considerations that I've thought of that I would like to see. So this is the first picture where you can see Profile Parkway on the left. Now this lot is to the north. This is the south side of it. This is the east side of it. So you can see that they have a berm around the entire gravel lot. This brush here, this is the of the swale of the pond right here on this side. And this is all contained within the same lot. I want to show just the aggregate that they place. They have 2s, compacted 53s, and then a berm of 8s around the perimeter. This is another view of the south side. You can see some standing water here. It hasn't rained in a few days. I think this is the one area I'd like to discuss with you. We don't have a swale obviously connecting it on this side, but there's nowhere really for this water to go. It needs to eventually make its way to the tree line here where the water is. So.
Hey, Kelsey, can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yes.
That standing water where you see the straw in that picture, there was a large pile of soil that was left from the Profile Parkway project. In that that pile was moved, but that basically is the edge of it.
Okay.
That kept that water there. So that, you know, prior to the project, presumably that was draining to the east.
Okay. When was the pile removed? Do you know?
It was removed during the swale project.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we did have a big rain since then, and it is taking more than a couple days to drain. I think there does need to be some type of drainage improvement in this area where it was disturbed, so that we can make sure that this can drain towards the swale. I don't see that happening from what I saw on site. Yes, Tron?
I guess my main concern with the gravel is it's impervious. So, you know, obviously stormwater, rainwater, runoff, it'll drain through those rocks, which in most cases is kind of what we want. But I think kind of with this being such a unique property with, you know, a history, that's my real question is, you know, is it appropriate to like have the water kind of leach through to the ground and then kind of drain more naturally, or should we, you know, have more of a you know, asphalt surface or, you know, whatever paved surface that can kind of really serve as a conduit and drain these, you know, more concise or precise. So, you know, that's my real concern here, and I would really love to hear some of the other board members maybe speak to that if they could.
Can I just say that there's a clay cap on top of the contaminated soil, and there are compacted 53s on there, which will not allow for much infiltration. Sorry.
No, thank you. That's appreciative. Thanks.
Can I ask a couple questions that might help with that? First of all, do we know the thickness of that cap that's laying on top of the contaminated soil?
Okay. Warren just said it was 12 inches.
Okay, and has there been any disturbance to that cap, right? Did they do any ground clearing prior to laying down the gravel?
That's what I had asked. Okay, yeah, Warren's saying no, they just placed it on
They
top
laid down you see the black matrix?
Yeah.
They laid that directly on undisturbed soil.
So I agree with Tron in the idea that this is a concern, just because I didn't realize there was contamination at the site. That gravel getting, especially in the situation where you have wetting of that cap, right, and the gravel being potentially pushed down into that cap, possibly creating some conduits, can be of concern. I'm also concerned that standing water and any swale that's developed to drain off into the side swale will potentially create a situation where erosion can occur. head cutting, that sort of thing up that swale, which might then cut into any cap that's there and create any kind of problem with the underlying contamination. So possibly lining it with some geotextile or something along those lines. It looks like the gravel lot at least got aligned with some geotextile, which is better than nothing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like that's necessarily the style of geotextile that I would prefer for a contaminated site like that. But I mean, I don't suggest we go back and dig it up and do anything like that to further create disturbance. So my concern is also what's going to happen post, right? What's the plan? And since it's still in development, it sounds like there is no plan. And I think that's maybe where we should focus the efforts.
Yeah.
One thing I'll add, we have an environmental consultant who is overseeing anything that we're doing on this site. And this was not anything, you know, this was actually probably a more positive way to use this area versus not having anything on it from their perspective.
Hmm.
I have a question. If the water gets through this gravel, which way does it drain? Where does it drain to?
It'll drain to the east. I'm sorry, I keep switching screens. Let me
To the
pull
east?
this up again. It'll drain to, sorry. Yeah, so here's the site again. The arrows show the direction of flow. And this is the soil that it's draining to here on the east side.
Okay. So then then eventually goes toward the south.
Correct.
And it's collected where?
There's a pond.
To the south?
Yeah. I'm sorry again. Here we go.
I thought I remember seeing the pond.
Yep. So there's a large wet pond down here in Jonathan Drive.
Yeah.
That's eventually where it will go to. And so there's a culvert we put under here, small stream, another weird little culvert in there. It'll eventually make its way into this pond here.
Is that a treatment pond?
So I can share the report that was done for the drainage analysis, where they looked at this pond and its outlet structure and how much storage there was if they were to develop everything draining to it. That should have some more information on this pond. Other than that, I do not know much about it. Maybe Katie would have some information. Katie?
Yeah, hi Kelsey, it's Katie Smith Design Group. I know at one point in time, I believe it was a treatment pond. I don't know if it's still classified, if that's the right term for that pond or not. I know about as much as you do, Kelsey, and did review the DLZ report that did do a hydraulic analysis on that existing pond for development of Profile Parkway, as well as the entire Pinnacle Business Park. But other than that, on the environmental side, I am not that familiar with what all this site entails.
And so, Kelsey, what your concerns then are, you'd like them to have a drainage plan for even this new gravel laydown area, or meet some other requirements?
As of right now, I just need a SWIP to cover this site. They have I think maybe a 500 gallon fuel storage tank on site, so there is on-site fueling. They have 2 large uncovered dumpsters, as well as all of the trucks and equipment on site. So it needs to be covered under a SWIP. I think, even if the work is technically done. So my next step is to work with Warren and Katie to get this covered in some way. So, yeah.
And, okay, now, would there need to be, you mentioned an area to the east where there might have been some trees there. Are they gonna, as a part of that, would they need to put in additional swales or anything to go from any drainage out of the gravel to the?
So, yeah, the only thing I'm really looking for, I think, is just some way to hold them to maintenance of the gravel berm around that lot. Water is going to find a way, so it will need some, maintenance, but I think the gravel itself will be enough to filter any pollutants. And the swale, like I said, has that maybe, 5-foot grass buffer after that. So I would think it'd be doing more damage to go trench and silt fence right now and there. That's not something I don't think is necessary.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, because as others have expressed concern, I think, if there's any excavation, protecting that cap that's on there, or,
Right.
So I think it's, to me would be a condition of any additional work that might need to be done.
Like
Bob, can I also add, the entire property is covered by an environmental restrictive covenant. So any type of activity in an affected area is restricted, and the ERC covers that. And that's been in place since 2012.
Okay. Does your soil management plan, was that only for the work on the swales, or does it?
No, that also covers any additional activities on the site.
Okay. So if you were to put in a new swale on the south side, we would still be in compliance with that soil management plan and have your environmental company oversee any work that could.
Yeah, I mean, for example, we're putting in, a fence, and any excavation of even, fence post holes are being managed very vigilantly.
Okay, well, excellent. And that,
Well, the problem is no one is going to be enforcing that. Not saying more on anything bad on your part, but that's just something that we as the county need to be aware of, is that it's important to have those in place, but you're not going to be inspected, every week or two by IDEM or EPA, So it's important for us to have our local controls in place, knowing that you are complying with your restrictive covenants and soil management plan. I just wanted to make everyone else aware that those aren't necessarily things that are going to be enforced with any level of detail right now.
Understood. And I also we had pre-construction meetings with EPA and IDEM, so they have vetted what we're doing out there.
Yeah.
okay. Well, then maybe a condition is for our local control is just the continued compliance with the ERC and soil management plan.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it's good to know that there are other entities that are kind of keeping an eye on, or at least commenting on what's going on. So I'd say getting that post-construction compliance SWIP is probably your best bet.
Yeah.
With mentioning the keeping to the requirements of the ERC.
Okay. All right. Okay, so since the ground disturbance has taken place, would y'all be okay if I ask them just to amend the current Rule 5 for the major subdivision, the work on the swales, to include any activities on that temporary laydown area, having a spill kit on site by the fueling area if it's not already there, updating the permit board with any new contact info, spill response procedures. So that should include someone with Duke if they have issues, maintaining the gravel berm around the lot, including any spill response procedures in the SWIP for the new activities occurring on the site, namely, on-site fueling. And once the item implements a new construction general permit, those dumpsters will need to be covered if possible.
Also, do they need a construction entrance?
They have one. They had already installed it here when they were doing the swale project. And so that is still in place. It's in good condition and they are using that to access the lot. So basically they're coming in from the construction entrance and entering to the east here. So.
Okay, great, thanks.
And since it is a temporary use, I'm assuming that we can just leave the Rule 5 open as good for 5 years. So that should cover the activities and any demobilization they're going to have to do that could disturb any area. But any future development of the lot, new disturbed area of 1 acre or more, or any change to the land will require its own SWIP and Rule 5 NOI, construction stormwater general permit, I should say. Okay.
Kelsey, are we allowed to allow that? I guess is the question.
I think that's more of a call that I just need to make. I don't think that's a decision the drainage board needs to weigh in on, but I think with everything that you are involved in on this site with the drainage, it's, I don't know. It's a path for compliance forward. So I guess I'm more just bouncing that idea off of you.
Okay. Yeah, if you can get it done and that's easiest for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with your proposal, Kelsey.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And
Any other? So any drainage improvements that need to be made for this entire subdivision moving forward, the drainage board needs to approve it. So any new driveways, site plans, I'm going to be bringing all of it to the drainage board for approval, just due to the nature of the project, its history, and that was a requirement that was put on it from the beginning. So.
Kelsey, this is Warren. We have a pending driveway permit. So if you look at the next lot over, and I know this aerial is dated.
Yeah.
When we did the swale project, it cut off physical access to lots 6 and 7.
Okay.
And I have a pending permit for lot 7.
Okay.
There's a curb cut to get into that lot. It would require a small amount of fill.
Okay.
And just basically a construction entrance so that if we need to get in to mow that lot, to do anything on that lot. Currently, we would have to either drive down through a big gully or jump the curb.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that's for next month or if that can be addressed now. But I've got just currently, because the swale cut off that access, the former Hall Road, we would be jumping the curb if we needed to drive onto that site.
Oof. I did not have lot 7 on the agenda. Are we allowed to approve something that wasn't posted?
And it's not an emergency. I just wanted to ask that question.
I would like to be able to pull up the plans and give the board more heads up to look at
Okay.
that. So I'll put that on the February agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Warren.
Yeah, that the February agenda sounds great. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
so Kelsey, is there anything we need to vote on?
I think since this is kind of retroactive, I think as long as you're okay with me getting their stormwater permitting in compliance, I don't, gosh, Jackie, do I need the board to approve anything on this since it's already done?
Kelsey, I would just suggest that if anyone disagrees, they let you know, but I think you can cover those items under the site plan review, which is ongoing and part of the compliance measures I know for planning.
Okay.
So if you feel uncomfortable about anything asking beyond what you think is in the scope of your review under the site plan, then I would get the drainage board to vote. But if you think it's all within what reasonable and what you typically do, I would just say you're okay.
Okay. Yep.
And Kelsey, it sounds like you're comfortable with it, and I think you're headed in the right direction.
Yep.
You know, I don't think a vote is necessary.
Great.
So, as they said, make it so.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Go back to page 1. Okay. I put that there was going to be a vote on something, but that's good. We'll move on. Okay. And I'll put lot 7 and any updates from lot 5 on the February agenda.
Okay, very good.
All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. So next on the agenda, I just had staff reports. I'll do a very quick update on the ordinance and item general permits. Only update I have for you is that item has the new construction stormwater general permit. It's in the process of getting signed. So it's been released, but not signed yet. So we're in a strange limbo period, and I haven't heard an update yet since before the holidays, and they told us that. So it's very close. And I will definitely, I'm hoping I'll have more for you at the next meeting, but this just gets the clock ticking, requiring us to update our ordinance within 2 years. Obviously, we'll do that beforehand. The past couple months have just been incredibly busy for me. Not just with plan reviews, but I've also had a couple large projects just that our crew has worked on that required item 41404 permitting, construction and flowway permitting that I did. We did it in-house because it wasn't hard, it just took up a lot of time. And that was November, December. It was just a very busy couple of months for me. So having the new general permits closer to being fully implemented, it kind of lights the fire for me to get that new ordinance finalized and in place. So I think my next step is to send it to Christopher Burke Engineering for a final look over to make sure that all the new permit requirements are in there. And then I'll be hiring an admin assistant to basically run the stormwater office and help us with the permitting. We'll have a new stormwater permit through the new ordinance. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to hiring an admin assistant. So we'll look for that. I'll talk more about that next month. The other thing I wanted to give you an update on is the Westgate on 3rd project. I apologize, I didn't include this on the agenda. We talked about it a couple months ago. And Let's see. Oh, okay, let's share. Oops. That's not the screen I wanted. Okay. So we talked about Westgate on Third a couple months ago. Oh gosh, where am I? West Third. So this is West Third Street, 048. Right here is the whole Westgate on Third development. I just want to give you an update on the plan review for this. So the preliminary drainage plan was approved by the Drainage Board in October of 2020. And we are finally very close to completing the final drainage plan review. We had a discussion on the downstream impacts of this project at the last Drainage Board meeting. And we've done quite a bit of work since then. Unfortunately, most of the work has been focused on this intersection here, Park Square Drive and West Sunset Ave. There are downstream concerns, but we weren't really able to require anything of the developer. It wasn't included as a condition in the preliminary plan. And we don't have any ordinance requirement for downstream improvements. I think these are ongoing issues and part of the larger watershed that it's still on my radar, but we're focusing the downstream analysis specifically on this area because we have a whole neighborhood, obviously, and some nearby houses that could be impacted. So we've been working with Fine and Fanyo and with City of Bloomington Utilities to ensure that the downstream storm sewers, which are owned by the city, this is the city-county boundary, ensuring that CBU's storm sewers are adequate to handle the new flows coming from this development, and that the houses in this area will not be flooded if the whole storm system fails. Basically, if the ponds get clogged and fail, if there's an overflow, we're making sure that none of the houses will be flooded. So Vine and Fanyo conducted that whole analysis, sent it to CBU for their approval. And basically I've requested kind of like a connection letter from CBU for their permission to tie into their storm sewer system here. And so I'm expecting to have that fairly soon now that the analysis is completed. They found that if everything fails, there's a big low spot right here, and they treated that as a pond when they modeled it. And they found that the houses would not be flooded, but there would be about 2.5 feet of water on, on the street. That would be the worst case apocalyptic scenario. So in most rain events, everything should be okay. But I will wait to hear back from CBU on that. Terry has completed the final drainage plan review. He had a couple last requirements for the pond design, but he's ready to sign off on that review. So that is it. Does anyone have any questions?
None here.
And none from Bob. Sounds
I'm
like you're
good.
paying attention
Thank
to
you.
it. So, yeah.
I just have one comment that, I feel like the city and the county share mutual interest in like making sure that we do as best as we can in this area to mitigate stormwater. So I think talking to CBU is excellent. And yeah, hopefully this could lead to even more of a collaborative effort where our municipalities align.
Yeah, I hope so. Phil and I have had some really good conversations, and even Phil and Terry, I got them connected. They had a good conversation just about general pond design. Because Phil has seen things, he's changed some design parameters that he looks for, that he requires an orifice for every single pond, minimum 4-inch diameter. Terry sometimes he's admitted he lost sight of that just because some of the ponds we're seeing are so small. So he just doesn't, he just hadn't been as important to him, but seeing some of the, just hearing Phil's perspective on it, he's very agreeable to setting some kind of standard like that. I've also talked to Phil extensively about design of under drains. He doesn't require filter fabric around them, around the pipes themselves. The county still requires it. I've been on the fence, but I want to see, but I feel like there's so much happening, so much changing, that the more experience we have with what works within just specific to the soils and topography in Monroe County, the more we're learning about how to better design them. So I value Phil's input, and I'm hoping we can put in the new technical standards manual some more guidance like this on what we want to see, make it a bit more consistent from city to county. So. Still haven't fixed the issue, not the issue, but I guess the discrepancy on the vegetation requirements. The city requires a native seed mix, the county requires plugs. But if it's fine. It's just different. So anyone have anything else here?
Are we ready for adjournment?
Yep.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right. I assume everyone is in favor of adjourning, and thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
everyone.
Have a nice
on.
week.
Thank you, you too.
Happy New Year.
Take care, everybody.
Yes, yes. Happy New Year.